What's happening? What's up, buttercups? Welcome to Mean Age Daydream with me, your bald and beautiful host, Brian McWilliams, a man who pledges not to rewrite history in order to push a Marxist agenda on what is clearly a capitalist message and an anti-Stalinist message, which, of course, is Animal Farm, the book by Orwell that has now been made into a new movie by Andy Serkis. We're going to talk about that today. But before we do, a reminder, you can buy Woke Word Wars, the brand new hilarious card game, brand new playing style. This is not a Cards Against Humanity ripoff, guys. This is a brand new style of game. You play between 1 and 3 cards, including a trump card. Get in there, steal rounds, add to other people's answers. Tons of fun. Amazon Prime, 2-day delivery. Get it. Give it. It's awesome. All right. Let's get into the show. Merry early Christmas, by the way. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. Whatever you guys celebrate, have a happy one. We, I believe, are going to be taking time off next week because we're going to focus on our friends, our family, our loved ones, and having ourselves a merry little Christmas here. But I think we will be doing a politics next week. So we'll do the politics podcast. That'll be our solo show for the Christmas week when, let's be honest, downloads are way down anyway. So we're going to do the one show. We'll do a little week recap, a little naughty and nice. If you guys are familiar with our naughty and nice shows, grading who's been naughty and who's been nice this year. Andy Serkis will definitely be on the naughty list. Now, if you're not familiar with Andy Serkis, this guy, and it's Serkis, S-E-K-R-I-S, or S-E-R-K-I-S, Serkis. He is the guy that played Schmeagol in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. He was famous for being this, kind of creepy looking fuck who would creep around and was very good at the physical side of things. So he did a lot of characters where he was in the green screen with the little white balls on him, acting in that manner. So he did the voice and all that stuff. He has since turned to directing and apparently thought it would be a wonderful idea, as did leftist shitbags like Seth Rogen, a man who I've really grown to hate because of his politics. Well, he decided he was going to remake Animal Farm. Now, the irony of remaking and reimagining is what they're calling it, Animal Farm, is that Animal Farm was written by the one and the only George Orwell. Now, George Orwell famously wrote 1984, which warned us of the evils that can happen when governments, when actors, bad actors, especially when ideologues get control of the means of not necessarily production, but the means of controlling the narrative, right? In Orwell's 1984, it was all about eliminating the history, the truth, literature, rewriting it to fit the government's narrative or the preferred narrative of those elites in power. We are seeing that full bore. We saw it happen during COVID. We saw it happening, and we see it happening in the UK right now with the censorship industrial complex, with people being jailed over voicing opposition to anything that's going on there, with the gaslighting and rewriting of instances that are happening there, with the condemnation of Western culture and white people, while you've got, all these issues we repeatedly talk about with mass immigration and skyrocketing rapes and skyrocketing crimes and skyrocketing Islamic terror attacks like the one that just happened in Bondi Beach. And yet we're being told that the problem is Western culture and the domestic populations of these nations and not all the people coming in. Well, similarly, we are being told that socialism and communism are a great thing, that we should embrace them once again, despite the fact that historical precedent will show you that millions upon millions of people have been massacred, that it puts people into poverty, that it stops people from going down entrepreneurship paths, it stops people from finding and continuing and growing and creating. Instead, you simply have people stop trying to innovate because they are at the force of a gun to have the exact same level of poverty, essentially, as everyone else, except these big government elites that are promising people the world, living high on the dime, eating caviar off gold plates and prostitutes. Well, they're living the high life. Everybody else is regulated to being the same level of equality, thus eliminating the drive to do anything as you become one of the slave class. Apparently, that message has been lost on Hollywood's leftist pigs. And I call them leftist pigs for a specific reason, because George Orwell's Animal Farm focuses on a group of leftist pigs. Factually, that's what it was. It was a teardown of Stalin and Soviet era communism and totalitarianism. Now, George Orwell was not, by the way, a strict free market libertarian. That's not who he was, right? He had some socialist leanings, I'm sure. And actually, I know for a fact that he did, but he could still see the writing on the wall when it comes to human nature, when it comes to the level of corruption that is inherent with a totalitarian society, which is what all socialist societies are. So you have the pig character, this leftist pig who is supposed to be this, Marxist Leninist figure and a takedown of Stalin that leads a revolution against the humans for quote unquote equality in Animal Farm, that leads the animals to rise up to create this, supposedly socialist paradise where everyone's equal. But what inevitably happens is what always happens in every society, including our human societies. The pigs who lead the charge, the leftist pigs, become the humans. That's the point of the book, is that power corrupts absolutely, that the systems will get corrupted, that the people will gravitate towards these power structures of totalitarianism. They will put the lower classes into the slave class after promising the world, and they will live high on the hog, literally. So what do the leftist pigs of Hollywood do? Well, they take Animal Farm and they, quote, reimagine it and go exactly against the source material. Now, this is something that should be loudly condemned, derided, and frankly, I hope that everyone boycotts it. I'm sure leftist imbeciles will go and support it on some level, but the thinking population that knows what Animal Farm is and still has some concept of the aspects of the horrors of socialism and communism should flat out boycott this. And frankly, I don't want to see a single thing Andy Serkis makes for the rest of my fucking life. And apparently Nick Sorter is the screenwriter that adapted this piece of shit, because they retold this. They reimagined it so that the animals on the farm are now rising up against capitalism. Yes, because they had a functioning form of socialism, because, socialism always works if it's done properly. So the socialist animals on the farm, and by the way, they eliminated the Marxist character that was like the lead pig. I can't remember this name, Captain something, but the lead angry war boar that led the charge, that was a factual Marxist in the book. They got rid of that character because he was obviously not politically expedient for them to use anymore in what is a reimagining of to now make an anti-capitalist. So they get rid of that character and they replace him with some little cutesy character named Snowball that now is going to lead the charge. And of course, this serves another faction, which is girl boss. Now you can put a girl boss in there, right? A little cutesy girl boss. And she's not the only girl boss, because now they not only get rid of main characters that are critical to the story and anti-communist, but now they introduce an anti-capitalist, a tech billionaire who happens to drive a Cybertruck and own an e-car company. Wow, who could they be trying to go after? But yet they can't even give enough credit to men, because this is leftist pig Hollywood. So they have to have yet another girl boss, because God knows we haven't had enough girl bossing in our lives. So now the big bad capitalist is a venture capitalist that's going to come in and revolutionize the farm, and they have to fight against this capitalist, and they have to take her down, and blah, 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 blah. That's what this has become. A anti-billionaires. This is like Bernie Sanders wrote this. He's the only guy stupid enough. I'm sure he's got money into it. He's probably getting money on the back end, and then he'll cry poverty again, and he'll write a book about his experience making this garbage film and supporting it. So the billionaires had to get taken down by the pigs, by this cute little pig. It's pure trash. It is everything wrong with Hollywood. It's everything wrong with leftist, as I say, leftist pigs that take something pure, something meaningful, something's impactful, something that's so well known like Animal Farm, something that's so well referenced, and they're trying to Orwell it. They're trying to turn it around, rewrite it, do the double speak plus double speak, get rid of all the references that they don't like, and push this turd out into the world for consumption to confuse people as to what Animal Farm is and stood for and what its message is. That's what this is for. It's a very specific selectation of a film that is so potent, or of a concept and a book that is so potently anti-communist, anti-socialist, anti-collectivist, anti-totalitarian. That's why they're trying to take it down. That's why they're trying to confuse it. That's why they're trying to rewrite it, because this is a potent message that goes against their worldview. And it's the same playbook that they do all the time. This is why they go attack words all the time. This is why they reconfigure what the definition of homelessness is, what the definition of racism is, what the definition of fascism is, what the definition fascism. The leftists are fascists, plain and simple. They are the totalitarian fascists, and yet you've got Antifa out there pretending that somehow what they're doing isn't fascism. This is what the left does. They will take something pure and well understood, and they will confuse the shit out of it. They will pollute it. They will, like I said, they will crap in that water supply and make it unpalatable and poisonous, and then invite everybody to drink it and get sick. And you're seeing it again with Animal Farm. And it is despicable in every possible way. Do not see this film. Boycott it. Tell everybody else. Ignore it. Forget it. And honestly, like I said, I don't want to see a single thing by Nick Sorter or Andy Serkis or Seth Rogen again as long as I live. As long as I live. I want to see nothing that these fuckers are in, because they are pure cancer to society. Okay. Next thing. I know we're all busy. I'll keep this pretty short. So actually, I have to go to a holiday lunch with my boss. It's going to be fun. Okay. So Donald Trump, a lot going on. Donald Trump is going to be addressing the nation tonight as I'm recording this on Wednesday. I believe we're going to do a response from the Libertarian Party after his address. We're going to see what he says, because there's two ways this could go. One way is the good way. It's like there's a good Donald Trump and an evil Donald Trump, right? The Donald Trump who sent out the Truth Social tweet about Rob Reiner after he'd been brutally murdered. That's the bad Trump. The Donald Trump that's going after Venezuela and bombing their quote unquote drug boats, which I'm sure some of them are. I don't really care. You can't go in sovereign waters without any declaration of war and just start blowing up their ships without any due process and without a declaration of war. It's not something you can do. It opens up a horrible Pandora's box of actions that our government should be permitted to do. It's the same thing as the war on quote unquote terror. We're redefining the very failed war on drugs, which has always failed, always been a boondoggle that hurt American citizens just as much as it hurt foreigners and drug cartels. We're opening up that Pandora's box in order to stop quote unquote fentanyl. But at the same time, we're also blockading oil tankers off. We're seizing oil tankers, and we certainly look to getting closer to war with Venezuela. Now, do I have confidence we'll win that war if we do go to war with Venezuela? Yes. Why? Because Venezuela tanked itself and is a socialist shithole, which I'm sure can be reimagined into a pig paradise by the idiots in Hollywood. But it is a socialist shithole that used to be one of the most prosperous countries in the Southern Hemisphere. It had oil, it had trade, it had beaches, it had citizenry that were trading, that were working, that were building. No. Once you get socialism in there, and it always comes on the back of a boon, right? Because they had the oil, because they had success. Then the people go, well, it's not fair that these people who worked hard and got this thing and set us all up for success. It's not fair they're making money. Nationalize the oil. And then you see it go to shit. And then you see the water, the water companies have to be taken over by the military to ration water out because you don't have functioning pumps anymore. You don't have functioning oil wells anymore. You don't have functioning refineries. You can't have bakeries that actually sell things at a regular cost because you have no imports coming in. You have price controls on everything. So I'm pretty sure we're going to win that war. Of course, the only people that are actually eating well in Venezuela work for the military, but good luck having a military that's going to function and be able to compete with American air power or naval power. It's not going to happen, period. And Russia is not coming in to save Venezuela. I'll tell you that much. Neither is China. That being said, I don't want it to happen. But there's a deep irony in that Donald Trump says, well, we're going after fentanyl, right? So he's ramping up the war on drugs in one aspect against a foreign nation that, hey, we have no jurisdiction over. And on the other hand, he might just reclassify marijuana today, which he said he's going to sign an executive order to do. Now, he doesn't have the power to do that, by the way. I think that still has to go through several layers of process, but it would send a powerful message, and I think it would get done because 80% of America wants to completely legalize marijuana. I mean, regulate it, but legalize it, essentially, is what Americans want. And it's been that way for the past 10 fucking years. And shitbags like Biden didn't get it done. Neither did Obama. And now Trump, maybe he'll finally do it. It would be revolutionary. It would allow us to actually open up, look into studies. It would definitely harm big pharma. I'll tell you that much, because there's so much that big pharma does prescription wise for pain, for nausea, for anxiety that could more easily be handled with a weed, not even a prescription, but just be able to go get some weed, right? So great. You also eliminate the barriers to banking, which has been a major bugaboo for states like California that legalize it, or Nevada. The companies that run these marijuana dispensaries or are creating the products, they deal with the constant overhanging threat. And under Obama, they got raided, and Biden, I believe. So they had the overhanging threat of the federal government can still drop the hammer. It hasn't, and it didn't in many cases. Again, to reference Obama did, but they could drop the hammer at any time. They can seize your accounts, they can freeze them, they could really do a lot. And it made banking unbelievably difficult. And obviously that drives up the cost of the industry exponentially as well. So hopefully this announcement Donald Trump has addressed to the nation is going to be focused on that, and not on, hey, we're going to war with Venezuela. But there is a deep irony in that he's understandably reclassifying one type of drug. Meanwhile, you're trying to attack this other manufacturer of fentanyl, supposedly. And again, I don't know how they can possibly prove that all this fentanyl is coming in and being tracked through Venezuela to our shores. But instead of going to war with them, maybe you should treat some of the other underlying issues, like the problem with addiction in society, with the criminalization of it, where people don't get the treatment that they need, with the issues of people using fentanyl and other hard drugs of that nature in order to treat other problems that they have, like schizophrenia and bipolar disorder and all these other issues that are going undiagnosed as homeless people rampant running through the streets, and apparently nobody can do anything about it. So now you've got drug addicted psychopaths running through the streets, and all these cities are just saying, okay, yeah, go live your lives like San Francisco does, like Los Angeles does, like Seattle does, like Portland does. There is a happy medium here, folks, where you can have a legalization of drugs and pair that with a civil understanding of how to deal with people that do imbibe too much, of how to bring them back from the brink, of having treatment centers for them, rather than have, again, treat it like alcohol or everything else, rather than have it be, it's all underground. And we're going to just, we're going to have a million NGOs that don't solve the problem, that are just slush funds for cronyism and for Democratic shills. But we're not going to actually look at the core problems here, and we're not going to accept it as a society and deal with it like adults. Instead, we're going to pretend that it doesn't exist, or we're going to demonize it, or we're going to condone it, and we're going to lean into it and give people the drugs that they really don't need, which is what we do in these leftist societies. Just crazy. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully it's not a very Venezuelan bombing Christmas. But yeah, I guess we will find out. Okay, so let's see. What is this? Somebody just commented, triple sign canvas rescheduling on Thursday after hours. Okay, well, we shall see. We shall see. Couple other things I wanted to touch on today, folks, is that we are looking at another interesting time. God, I just completely lost my train of thought. Don't you love when that happens? I mean, completely lost my train of thought. So I did want to talk about Bondi Beach real quick, because, like we're talking about these leftists and the fact that they want to rewrite history. You're seeing the politicians in Australia, which already has some of the toughest gun restriction laws in the country, or in the world, I should say, double and triple down on the fact that, well, now we're going to really crack down on gun ownership, because apparently the people in the country, these, and again, this is all coming out slowly, but they certainly seem as though they were Islamic jihadists shooting up a beach full of Jewish people celebrating Hanukkah in Australia. They want to crack down even harder on guns. Now, obviously, I've been arguing with people about this on X, and I had some Australians go, well, as if mass shootings are a problem in our country. Well, one just happened, didn't it? One just happened. And if, it's just like anything. If you ban the guns, then you're still going to have other people attack in other ways. That's all that ever happens. You'll have stabbings, you'll have, bombings, you'll have whatnot. You'll have cars being run into marketplaces like you see throughout all of Europe right now, which is why the Christmas markets aren't happening, or they're being blockaded off, and you've got Muslims, chanting and running through them. Or like in Paris, you don't have a New Year's celebration because you're afraid of terrorist attacks. Getting rid of the guns makes your society less safe because people cannot protect themselves. And this really came to a head when we saw the video come out from the Bondi Beach shooting, where 3 different female police officers were seen cowering instead of fighting. Literally, a police officer they were trying to pull her away from the police van to go and help people that were being massacred at this beach by people shooting, and she would flat out refuse to do it. We saw, and again, this is not just to say that this is a female problem. It just happened to be 3 female cops did this all at the same time in Australia. Oh, by the way, and then the cops shot the one guy who disarmed one of the terrorists. So they shot the wrong guy. After they did nothing, they then shot the guy that took the gun away from the terrorist. So they did nothing to help you for the most part, and yet they want to take away your guns and then allow you to simply be murdered. Great system we've got there. Similar in Uvalde, where you had the cops simply allow a shooter to shoot up a school while they were too much fucking pussies to go in there and do anything about it, and also stopped parents from going in. Again, another example of the police will not help you. I mean, look, there's certain people that will. There's certain hero cops out there. God bless them. They're doing what we pay them to do. But never forget, the Supreme Court found there is no obligation for police to go in and help you. 0. You should help yourself. That's why we need guns. It's why you need to be able to defend yourself. You need to be able to have the capability to go in and shoot back. Go in and save your child. Defend your own home. And yet we see time and time again the Democrats trying to demonize anybody that does the right thing. Like the guys who are shooting home invaders, armed home invaders, or I don't even give a shit if they're armed, to be fucking frank with you. Any home invader that comes into my house, I'm going to shoot you. I have kids here. I don't know if you're armed or not. You come in, you're dead. And yet these people are being jailed for defending themselves. They're being sued for defending themselves. You're seeing people in grocery stores, right? Grocery, maybe fast food stores, fast food marts, also defending themselves from robbers, and they're getting sued. They're getting jailed. You have to be able to protect yourself. You have to be able to protect your private property. You have to be able to protect what you're working for, and you have to be able to protect the ones that you love. The police are clearly not going to do it for you. And if they do, they're going to get there well after the fact. They're going to get there too late to do shit for you. Everyone should be able to conceal carry. Everyone should be able to buy a gun. Everybody should be able to carry the gun wherever the fuck they want, and everybody should be able to defend themselves. That's it. And the Bondi Beach situation is yet another example of this. Yet, what do you see? Gaslighting, doubling down on failed policy, doubling down on we must take your rights away. Because of these 2 bad actors, we're going to crack down on the rest of you law-abiding citizens. Every single time, that is what happens. It's just, every single time. All right, there was one more thing that I did want to talk about today, and I'm completely fucking blanking on it, to the fact that I'm actually going to go towards what I wrote up today. Oh, Facebook, that was it. Okay, the last thing. Speaking of the gaslighting and the lies and the rewriting of facts. So Facebook did a internal review, right, in conjunction with some other company on what was going on with hate speech on social media. Now, you'll recall that we are told that hate speech on social media is always white on black, white on Asian, white on Hispanic. It's always anti-LGBTQ. That's what we're told. We're told by Joe Biden, one of the biggest lying pieces of completely, mentally disabled crap that I've ever seen in my life, that white extremism was the problem in this country. And of course, the media runs with this, and the media tries to play it up, and the media tries to portray white extremism as the problem in any white issue. Oh, okay. Well, guess what? The study Facebook did found that 90% of online hate speech is targeted towards white men. Targeted towards white men. People yelling about how much white people suck, people hating on white capability, white patriarchy, white with. And again, this is not rational complaining about, hey, well, maybe white privilege is a real thing. Let's debate it. No, this is just them saying, fuck white people. I hate white people. White people deserve nothing. White people are the devil. White people are evil. All of it is pure anti-white hate speech. And yet we're being told that you can't have, people that aren't white can't be racist. Well, it certainly seems they can, to the tune of 90%. And yet, do any of these people get deplatformed? Do any of these people get their accounts shut down? Do these people get, violate the terms of service? No. Do any of these people get fired from their jobs? No. Charlie Kirk was the only time I saw any comeuppance for the vile things that people say. And yet, Facebook has found and proved it's rampant. If you want to fix society, this has to crack down. You cannot have a society where one portion of the population is allowed to be targeted, discriminated against. And by the way, let's not forget that 85% of the jobs that would have gone out in the past 10 years went to non-white people, non-white males, I should say specifically. So at least in America, at least it used to be, the predominant working culture, working class of people, of white males, was discriminated against for the last 10 years to the tune of 85%. Not getting hired, not getting promotions, not getting job opportunities, completely fucking ignored. And you wonder why people are dissatisfied and pissed off. And at the same time that all this is happening, that white men are being demonized, being demonetized, being ignored and canceled, we're also being told we're the biggest pieces of shit on the face of the earth. And 90% of hate speech is targeted against white males. There is no way that's acceptable. It should not be permitted. I don't care what historical context you want to make up about it, but white males have done a shit ton and continue to a shit ton. And white males, I'm sorry, you could say, oh, well, Billy Bob out there's got some ill thoughts about certain types of people. Well, apparently so do you. But I know a hell of a lot of white males that are just trying to get their lives in order, just trying to move forward, that don't have any hatred in their hearts toward anybody. And frankly, you doing this shit is creating the next generation of people that are going to be the big problem. The problem is the current generation that's targeting white males is already the problem. So that's going to come to a head unless we definitely have a switch get flipped in our society and we all take a step back and shut the fuck up about this crap and decide to get along, hire on merit, work together, go towards a new future, and stop trying to demonize everybody and point the finger at everybody else for you sucking shit. But at least now we've got factual evidence that certain people, me being in that class, have a reason to be pretty pissed off. All we got to do is go back to the regular old standard of, if you do your job, if you're a nice person, if you have the experience, you get hired. No one's coming after you. No one's trying to cancel you. No one's demonizing you. No one's telling you you're the problem with the world, and we can all move forward. I don't think anybody's asking for reparations for white people. We just want it to fucking go back to normal. And I don't think that's too much to ask. All right, Merry Christmas. Again, Woke Word Wars. Go buy yourself a copy. It's on Amazon, 2-day delivery. If you got Prime, go get one. That's it. From me, Brian McWilliams, the oppressed minority. All right. From me, Brian McWilliams, from the Lions of Liberty Network, and from Me and Age Daydream. Keep those electric eyes on me, babe, and keep that ray gun to my head. I will talk to you later.